Hello, I'm Sifu Lamar M. Davis II, Executive Director of the United States Jeet Kune Do Alliance. I would like to welcome you to my series, Jung Fan Jeet Kune Do Complete. This is Volume 12, Entering Skills. If you're interested in the United States Jeet Kune Do Alliance, and if you would like to become a member, you can write to me, Sifu Lamar M. Davis II, at 267 West Valley Avenue, Suite number 223, Birmingham, Alabama, zip code 35209, and I'll be glad to send you information. Okay, this tape covers what we term entering. Entering is closing the gap on the opponent. How to close the distance between yourself and your opponent without getting hit in the process, or hopefully without getting hit in the process. In this tape, we're going to cover the basic footwork used in entering, the entering tools or body weapons used for entering purposes, and some of the basic entry techniques that we use in Jung Fan Jeet Kune Do. I think you'll enjoy this tape, and hopefully it will greatly improve your entering skills. When I come back, we'll talk about the fighting measure. In this segment, we're going to talk about what we term the fighting measure. The fighting measure is the distance between yourself and your opponent and how it applies to combat. Okay, in Jeet Kune Do, the fighting measure is defined as the distance between yourself and your opponent, which is the extension of the lead leg plus approximately half a step. Okay, in other words, if my opponent extends his lead leg and then I take half a step more distance, that is the fighting measure. Okay, now you have to be able to estimate this fighting measure. You have to be able to sort of get a feel for this and understand it. It's what we call a body feel. You have to just feel when your body is in the right position and when you're at the fighting measure. Okay, now you can either be right on the rim of the fighting measure, you can be well outside the fighting measure, or you can be inside the fighting measure. Okay, now, what we want to do is stay right on the rim of the fighting measure. That's the preferred distance. If I can stay right on the rim of the fighting measure, I know that I'm not too close to my opponent, yet I also know that I'm not so far away that if he were to attack, and if I were to parry or defend against his attack, and then counterattack, I'm not so far away that I could not close the gap immediately with a counterattack of my own. So, this is the fighting measure. One of my assistants, Robert Curbo, will join me now, and we're going to talk a little bit about the fighting measure as it relates to an opponent. Okay, back up just a little bit. Okay, now Robert assumes the on guard position, and I assume the on guard position. Okay, right now, we're right on the rim of the fighting measure. Robert, if he were to extend his lead leg, he can't kick me. But if he were to take half a step and extend the lead leg, he can get in. Okay? So, we're right on the rim of the fighting measure. Now, you want to develop the ability to feel when you're right here. You don't want to be much further away than this, nor do you want to be closer. Okay? If you're this close, something should already be happening. In other words, if you're in a combat situation and you're this close to the opponent and you're still in your stance, you're still just standing there, you're in trouble. Because if he's this close, it's very easy for him to kick or strike with a hand and get in with very little preparatory movement. Okay? The hardest attacks to defend against are those that are non-telegraphic and those that are started from the correct range. So it would be very hard for me to defend at this distance if I'm still caught in my tracks when he's this close. So, you want to maintain that fighting measure about this distance, and you want to feel that. You want to just get a feel for that. You want to be able to size up your opponent, look at the length of his legs. You should be able to tell how far he would be able to kick without footwork, and then you want to judge that. That's your fighting measure. So you're going to be right here. Now, I know that Robert cannot kick me, he cannot hit me without first executing some type of footwork maneuver. Of course, I can't kick him or hit him without first executing some type of footwork maneuver too. But that's okay. This is where we want to be. This is where we're not too far away, yet we're not too close. We're not in that danger zone, okay? So this is the fighting measure. Thank you, Robert. All right. Now you want to develop the ability to just feel that fighting measure, to move around with the opponent and feel the fighting measure, feel the proper distance at all times. Now I want to talk a little bit about the on guard position. Okay, in Jong Jeet Tek, this is what we refer to as the Jong, or on guard position. I'm going to use this line on the floor here, and I'm going to talk briefly about this stance and some of the elements of it. First of all, we use what we call an angular alignment, which means the feet are positioned on an angle in relation to the center line, which is represented here by the line on the floor. My lead foot points into the line at approximately a 45-degree angle. My rear foot points away from the line at approximately a 45-degree angle, or a little more to the front. My rear heel is raised, my knees are bent, my weight is distributed 50-50, my upper body is erect, and my hands assume a position on the center line where the rear hand is just below my chin, inside the shoulder, the lead hand is about a foot in front of it, and slightly lower. Notice that both elbows are in and down. That's very important. I don't want my elbows flaring out. I want my head tilted slightly downward like so that a full fist can't get into my throat. Okay? So I'm here in this position. My hands are open, loose, and relaxed. An open hand moves closer than a fast hand, faster than a closed hand, excuse me. Okay, the fingertips, you don't want them straight, you don't want them curved. You want them just, or you don't want them completely closed. You want them in between, okay, somewhat relaxed. So, this is the position that we're looking for. All right, notice both hands are right on the center line. That's very important. That way, if they have to leave the center line, they can return immediately, okay? Also, with the hands on the center line is potentially closed off as an immediate target for an opponent. So this is what the fighting stance looks like from the front. Okay, seen from the side, like so. Once again, this is the Jong position, or on guard position. Seen from the rear. And seen from the other side. So that's the fighting stance. That's very important, this on guard or Jong position. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit about entering footwork. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about entering footwork. First of all, we're going to talk about the push shuffle. Okay, this is very simple. You've probably seen this in a few tapes already if you have the whole series. But just in case you don't have the whole series, you don't have the tape that this is in, I need to cover this stuff so you better understand it. Okay, the basic push shuffle. All right, now we're going to discuss primarily the forward use of the push shuffle here. This is also sometimes referred to as a step and slide. You simply step with the lead foot, slide the rear foot up. Okay, of course the rear portion would be just the opposite. Step with the rear foot, slide the lead foot back. So we have push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay, now once again, this being an entering tape, we're concentrating more on the forward portion of the movement. Okay, so we have the forward push shuffle. Okay, this is very subtle, okay? This is the simplest footwork pattern that we teach. Very subtle. Nothing wasted. No wasted energy, no wasted movement. We try to maintain the same height with the head. In other words, don't dip down and don't raise up, okay? So, push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay? That's the basic push shuffle. Seen from this direction straight on. Push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay? Once again. Push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay? Now, this is a very subtle movement. Alright? So this is not going to be a big explosive move. It's just a very subtle movement to subtly cover a small distance. Okay? The next thing that we're going to talk about is what we call a forward lunge. Okay, the forward lunge is kind of like a big push shuffle. Okay, So what I'm going to do here, instead of just this little subtle move, I'm going to push hard off the rear foot from that raised rear heel position. And as I do that, I'm going to shoot my hand out. Okay? Now I'm going to imagine that someone has tied a rope to my wrist. And as I push with my rear foot, I'm going to imagine that this person has jerked real hard on this rope and pulled my upper body forward. Okay? The reason we do this is because with the arm moving out, it helps propel the upper body forward at a distance equal to the distance that the lower body is propelled forward by the rear foot. So, this goes out as the push goes and the step takes place, and seen very slowly, it looks something like this. Okay, once again, when we do this, we want to concentrate on maintaining a constant head level. Okay? We want to concentrate on that. We want to make sure that we maintain a constant head level. Because if I do this forward lunge, like so, the change of the head level at the initiation of the lunge lets you know that I'm coming. It's like I tell my students quite often, if you're going to use this forward lunge, don't alter the level of the head. Move in on a constant level with it. Don't alter the level of the head. Move in on a consistent level. Because that way, instead of saying, here I come, the strike says, I'm here. Okay? So, forward lunge. I'm going to pick it up a little bit now, put a little more explosiveness into this. Sometimes I like to refer to this simply as a forward explosion. Okay, so, watch what we got here. Okay? That's the basic forward lunge. Now I'm not putting a whole lot into that because I'm just doing it in the air. I'm not lunging at a target. There's nothing for me to hit. There's not an actual opponent for me to close the gap on. But that's a good way to work the legs and to get your body accustomed to that forward lunge. Push off. Okay, remember, imagine that someone is pulling that rope, that cord, whatever makes it work for you up here. Someone is pulling that. At the same time you push off with the rear leg, and it helps to propel the upper body forward as the lower body is being propelled forward by that rear leg. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is what we term stealing a step. This is a very subtle movement where the rear foot simply slides up to the lead, like so. So, from the basic bajong, or on guard position, the rear foot simply slides up to the lead, like so. Straight up to it. Now, when you see me do this from the front, you'll get the idea of why we call this a stealing a step movement. Okay? Now, this foot is going to slide in directly behind this one. Now, normally, when using stealing a step, I would extend the hand at the same time the rear foot slides up. Okay, now what this enables me to do is to close the distance of a full step without actually moving my lead foot. In other words, if my opponent sees this foot step, it's very obvious that I'm covering some distance. Okay? But if he doesn't see it move, and if I occupy the high line with a projection hand or with an asking hand, he's paying more attention to that hand, okay? He's paying more attention to that hand. That's when the stealing a step movement comes in. Now, I have closed within kicking range, whereas before I was not within kicking range. My assistant Robert will join me now, and I'll show you this, and I'll give you some idea of what I mean here when I say that it's very subtle. Okay, right there on guard. All right, now from here, you see I cannot reach him with a kick. Cannot get there. Can't kick him no matter what. I'm too far away. Okay, now, if I step, he's got time to see that step, and he knows that I'm coming at him. Okay, so I am within range to use the stealing a step movement. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot this out to occupy the high line. At the same time, I'm going to steal that step. I'm going to slide the rear leg, or the rear foot, right up to the lead foot, and that puts me right in kicking range. Okay, watch that again. Okay, notice I'm right there, right where I need to be. Also notice the subtlety of the movement. Watch it from the other side now. Notice the subtlety of the movement. Okay? Notice the asking hand or projection hand goes out, and then as I steal the step, when the distance has been closed, I drop it and fire the kick. Okay, now the reason I drop it is because my main goal here is to kick, okay? So, I have no need for the hand to be just hanging in the air anymore. So from here to here, okay? Thank you, Robert. That's what we call stealing a step. Okay? Another movement that we use is called a forward pendulum. Okay, this comes from the pendulum footwork. There's a forward pendulum, there's a backward pendulum, and there's also what we call a full pendulum. Okay? Here our main concern is the forward pendulum, which works like this. The rear foot slides up, taps the lead, and the lead foot moves out. Like so, okay? Now, this is an offensive footwork pattern, because what I'm doing here is kind of like a high speed or a more intense, a less subtle version of stealing a step. I'm bringing this foot up so I can get within kicking range. Okay, Robert will join me again. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay? Notice I can't kick him from here. No matter how hard I try, I just can't do it. I'm out of range. Okay, this is where that pendulum shuffle or forward pendulum comes into play. With that one little move, I was right there. Okay, now notice the difference between the pendulum and stealing a step. Stealing a step was very subtle. Okay? Very subtle. Okay? The pendulum is very explosive. Okay? Notice once again, I'm right there, right in there. Okay? That's what we're looking for. That is the forward pendulum. Okay? The next thing I want to talk about is a little thing that we call a stutter step. Okay? The stutter step is just a little short step, like so, used to initiate forward movement, to generate forward momentum. Okay? Another purpose that it can have is you can make it rather obvious. If you want to draw attention to the low line, you can make that stutter step rather obvious and draw the attention down to that foot. Most of the time it's a very subtle movement. Just a simple step. Like so. Now, that's to generate forward momentum. We also use it sometimes to change the angle of the stance, to change the alignment of the feet. I may want to go into a straight alignment for certain purposes, such as the delivery of side kick or something like that. So what I'm going to do is use that stutter step to change my alignment. Now I'm in a straight alignment, enabling the stealing a step movement to work a little bit better. Okay, so now I use the stutter step, change my alignment. I can go for the stealing a step, or I can go for the pendulum shuffle, the forward pendulum, and I'm set up for it a little bit better because of that stutter step. Okay, also, what if my opponent is just a little bit further away from me, Robert? What if my opponent is just a little bit further away from me and stealing a step or the pendulum won't quite get me there? See, I almost made it, but not quite there. Okay, that little stutter step can make the difference between not being there and being right where you need to be. Okay, so that's another use of the stutter step. Okay, it closes just a little bit of distance to bring you within range to use the attacking weapon you want to use, which in this case is the low line side kick to the knee. Okay? Thank you, Robert. So that's the stutter step. Okay, the next particular footwork pattern that I want to talk about is what we call a burning step. Okay, the burning step has a little bit of psychology behind it. That's why we call it a burning step. It's like you imagine that you're stepping onto something extremely hot. You've probably noticed that one of the fastest natural reactions that your body has is when you touch something that is extremely hot. It's like, let's say this wall is very hot and I accidentally leaned on it, okay? It wouldn't take long for me to get off of it. You ever notice that? You touch something hot, you're out of there, okay? So what we're doing, we're applying this mental strategy, this psychology to this particular step. Okay, so I'm imagining that when I step, I'm stepping onto something extremely hot. The burning step is very much like a stutter step in the way that you actually move the foot. The only difference is where the stutter step is a bit more subtle and allows some of the weight to plant or all of the weight to shift onto that foot momentarily. The burning step is just a quick tap, okay? You cover about 6 inches to a foot with this little step. So in other words, you're going to move about that far or about that far with this little step. And when you move, imagine that you're stepping onto a hot plate, a stove eye, hot coals, whatever it takes to make it click for you. That's what you got to do. And you want to get that foot up quick. In my school, a lot of times when we're doing footwork drills, somebody will do a burning step like this. And they'll hear me say, foot toast. Okay, what I mean by that is they just literally toasted their foot. Okay? So, you want to just touch down, feel the heat, boom, and you're gone. Okay? So, what we're looking for is that as opposed to that. Okay? Now, we're going with what we call displacement here, which means that the rear foot is going to displace the lead foot. So wherever this foot lands for the burning step, that's where this foot is going to end up. Okay, now, there are several things that I can do with a burning step. I can use the burning step to explode into what we call a lead leg jam. My final position would resemble something like this. Okay? So, I'll be here jamming with my leg like so. My lead hand could either be attacking like so, or I could be checking with the rear with the lead hand prepared to deliver the punch as I come down. Okay? But at any rate, I'm going to be either on guard like so. I'm going to be attacking with the lead like so. Or I'm going to be checking with the rear hand, preparing to deliver the punch as I step down with the lead hand. Okay? So the final position there would be here, and I step down right into the punch. Okay, that would be what we call a jamming posture. That's where you assume a jamming position right off of that burning step. So from here, go right into that jamming posture. Or I can attack with the lead hand as I jam, okay? The other execution of the burning step is with a kick. In other words, I tap, then I'm gone. This leg is on the way with some kind of kick. Right? It can be a straight kick, it can be a hook kick, it can be a side kick. Like so, okay? Could be any one of those. Okay? That's the burning step. Alright, that's the basic footwork that we're going to use in this entering tape. When we return, I'm going to show you a little bit about the entering tools. In this sequence, we're going to demonstrate some of the basic entering tools or some of the basic body weaponry that we use in entering. We're going to start off with a simple straight punch, commonly referred to as Chung Chuie, or vertical fist. It's delivered from the on guard position with the elbow down, and it fires straight up the center. Okay? We have a jab that's just straight out and straight back, like so. Just a jabbing straight punch. Straight out, straight back, like so. And then we have what we call the intercepting fist, or the full power lead straight punch, which is delivered with what we call the shortened arc. I fire through the target, pull in slightly toward the center line, and then return to the on guard position. So I fire through the target, pull in across the center, and return to the on guard position. Okay, now what you want to do is refine that short arc to a point where it's barely noticeable. Therefore, you know that there's no wasted motion. The shortening of the arc enables you to accelerate the follow-through more rapidly, therefore increasing the power of the punch. It's possible to double your punching power using this short arc. Robert's going to join me now with a focus glove. And we're going to show you what the basic straight punch looks like, both in the jab formation and the intercepting fist or power punch. Okay, so first of all, the jab is just straight out, straight back. Just straight out, straight back. Nothing wasted, nothing telegraphed. Just right from the on guard position, right into the jab, and right back. Okay, the intercepting fist, however, using the shortened arc, follows through the pad, hits very hard. Okay, so from the on guard position, measure off like so. Notice how I get my body into this power punch. The whole body gets behind the intercepting fist. Okay, like so. All right, that's the basic intercepting fist punch with the vertical fist with the elbow down. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bill G or finger jab. From the on guard position, the Bill G or finger jab is fired straight off the lead hand, like so. From the on guard position, finger jab, and retract immediately. Straight out, straight back. Straight out, straight back. Seen from the side, straight out, straight back. Straight out, straight back. No preparatory movement, no telegraph, straight out to the target, straight back. Now, with the Bill G, we fire this in basically two ways. The first way to the eyes involves the separation of the fingers. I'm firing straight into the eyes. So what I want to do here is right from the on guard position, I fire this finger jab out toward the eyes. I tuck the thumb and the fingers are separated and loose. Okay? With this strike I can get either one eye or both eyes. Now the idea is not to put the eyes out, but to create severe discomfort and temporary loss of vision because of the pain created by the fingertips raking the eyeballs. The other way that we execute the Bill G, or finger jab, is with the fingertips in what we call a spear configuration, like so. Okay? Once again, straight out, straight back. Notice that the thumb is tucked so that it doesn't get caught on anything on the way out. It's tucked, therefore it's in a safe position. This strike can be used either to the throat or to one eye. From the on guard position, straight out, straight back. Straight out, straight back. Okay? That's the basic spear configuration for striking either to the throat or to one eye. Okay? The next strike that we're going to talk about is the Chuie, or Backfist. Robert's going to join me now with a focus glove. The Chuie, or Backfist, goes directly out from the on guard position, whips into the target, and returns quickly. You snap it out and whip it back. Retraction speed is very important here. Very important. From right here, straight out, straight back. Okay, once again, notice I don't go like that. I don't pull back. Okay? I don't pull back. Okay? I just explode right from where I am into the glove. The idea is to keep the elbow down as much as possible so the elbow offers protection. Torque the waist and the hips into the strike. Like so. Okay, so when seen directly from the front, that back fist, right from the on guard position to the target and back. Follows the same line out and back in. Keeping the elbow down as much as possible. You can see that elbow down real good from this particular position. See the elbow down real good from that particular position. These are some of the basic hand tools that we're going to talk about during, that we're going to use and that we're going to be talking more about during the entering drills. So when we come back, I'm going to show you some of the kicks that we're going to use for entering purposes. You'll notice that the hand techniques that we just showed you, the straight punch, the finger jab, and the back fist, are all very direct. The directness of these strikes assists in the practicality of their use in the entering process. The kicks that I'm about to show you are the same way. They're very direct, very quick, very simple to execute. Okay? For entering purposes, the simpler the better, because speed is going to be very important. That's a very important element on entering, on closing the gap. So we'll show you these kicks now. The first one is the Jeet Tek, or straight kick, from the on guard position. All right, now I'm going to execute these using a stealing a step or forward pendulum type movement. where the rear foot is going to come up, and then I'm going to kick with the lead. Okay, so the straight kick is very simple, just straight from where the foot is to the target, therefore the term straight kick. You'll notice also it follows a straight vertical line, just straight in. Okay, from the on guard position, I slide up, I kick. Notice that I maintain protected position with my hands. Notice that I don't drop my hands when I fire the kick. I maintain good protected posture as I fire the kick. For entering purposes, this straight kick is used predominantly to the knee and to the groin. Okay, so we're going to the knee and we're going to the groin. Okay, now when I fire this kick to the knee, what I'm doing, I'm kicking at the kneecap, digging, tearing at the kneecap from underneath. Okay, very painful strike, very painful. When I fire to the groin, of course, what I'm trying to do is just drive straight into the groin area as quickly as I possibly can. Now, speed is important here, not power, because we all know that it doesn't take much power when you're kicking to the groin. Okay, so that's the basic straight kick. Just straight from where you are, slide up and kick. Notice that I do not go here, and then down. That would be violating Jeet Kundo's principle of directness, okay? Has to be direct, right from where the foot is to the target. The only bend in the knee is the bend necessary to allow the foot to follow a straight line. Okay, the next kick that I'm going to show you is the side kick, or Jong Tek. Okay, for entering purposes, the side kick is going to be used primarily to the shin, to the knee, or to the rib solar plexus region. Okay? Notice once again, we go straight from where the foot is to the target. Nothing wasted. Straight from where the foot is to the target. Seen directly. Okay, straight from where the foot is into the target. Okay, the reason that there is usually some type of shuffle or some type of step before a kick in Jung Fan Jeet Kune Do is that little shuffle, that little step helps to get more body into the technique. More power is initiated through the use of the step. The next kick that we're going to use is the hook kick. Seen from the front, like so. Notice it comes up just to the side of the center line and then hooks into the center line. That's why Bruce Lee called this a hook kick. In most arts they refer to this as a round kick or a roundhouse kick, but then also it looks like this in most arts. You see the chambering of the leg before they fire the kick. Then you see it rechamber before they touch down. In Jeet Kune Do, you'll notice the absence of the chamber. It's just straight from where the foot is to the target. Okay, for entering purposes, we're going to concentrate on the knee. Kick into the knee. Kick into the inside portion of the thigh or the side nerve area of the thigh. Or the groin. Or the rib solar plexus region. Okay, seen from the side, to the knee, to the thigh, or to the groin, or to the rib solar plexus region. Okay, now, I can go head high with this kick. All right, Robert's going to join me now with a focus glove, and I'm going to demonstrate the kick with a target. Okay, starting with Jeet Tek, or straight kick, at groin height. Let you see how this looks applied against a focus glove. See how direct? Okay. Let's go with the side kick now, or Jeet Tek. Okay, now when you kick a focus glove with a side kick, it feels like you're not doing anything. That's because you're taking a very powerful kick and kicking something that's barely there, okay? So when you feel that in your training, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have a bad kick. It's just that the glove is a weak target for a side kick. Okay, now we'll go with a hook kick. We'll start off to the groin. Okay, rib solar plexus height. Then in some instances, we could go as high as head high. Okay? Those are the basic kicks that we're going to be using with our entering techniques. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the asking hand. In this sequence, we're going to talk about what we call the asking hand, often referred to as a projection hand. At any rate, what we're doing here, from the stance, as we close, we're just putting something out, just throwing something out there to either draw attention to the high line or to gain an engagement. Okay? What I mean by gain an engagement is do something that makes the opponent want to defend with the hands. So when I put this out, they want to either use the lead or the rear hand in some fashion to try to stop it, to try to protect themselves, because at this moment they don't know whether it's an attack, they don't know what's coming in, and it's just natural reaction to try to defend when something is coming towards your face. Okay, there are several ways that we can do this asking hand. One way is just very direct, just like a Bill G, like a finger jab. The finger jab, the Bill G, is often used as an asking hand. Okay. Another way is I could bring my hand off the center and sort of swing it in on an angle. This makes it easier to see and gives the opponent more time to react to the hand as it comes at them, because they see it leave the center, then they see it come up, over, and in as you close. So it looks like this from here, like that, coming once again off the center, up, over, and down. Okay? I can also swing my hand upward as I come in, like so, or thrust directly downward as I come in. So I can swing it up like so, or I can thrust directly downward as I come in. These are all variations of the asking hand. Okay, there's a fine line between what we term an asking hand and what we term a projection hand. Projection hand is usually done just to draw the attention to the high line as I close the gap with footwork, such as using stealing a step or the pendulum. So the projection hand comes out, okay? As I fire the projection hand, I do a stutter step. This makes it even more realistic. It makes it look like I'm coming in. So I'm here, and as my opponent prepares to react to the hand, that's when I steal the step and kick low. So the projection hand is here, and then it's gone. So I steal the step right there. Then the projection hand is gone, and I'm in with the kick. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. We'll show you some of the applications of the asking hand or the projection hand. Okay. From here, I may slide up and kick, and then come in with the asking hand. Okay, that's a very common entry in Jung Jeet Kune. Slide up, kick, then put the projection hand out there, or the asking hand. Then when I get the engagement, I trap and counter. Okay, so that would be one idea there. So I'm here, and I'm here. Okay. Another example would be here, then re-engage, then trap and hit. Okay, so that was the projection hand coming out first, slide up, kick, then put the asking hand out, get the contact, and react accordingly. In this case, I react with a lop sao, firing a Chung Chuie or straight punch. In another case, I may go with a pak sao or slapping hand. Okay? Alright, I could lunge in using the type of asking hand that comes off the center, over and down like that. That gives them a lot of time to react. So when I come in with that, see what he does? Now you have to make it realistic. You can't go like this. You can't go. Okay? It has to be realistic. You have to make them think something's going to get them. See? They think this is going to hit them if they don't respond. Okay? So they don't know what's coming. See, I may go there. That's one entry. Okay? I put the projection hand out there to occupy the line. He tries to defend thinking something's about to hit him. And I change my line and fire ping Chuie or horizontal fist into the ribs. Okay? Ping Chuie or horizontal fist is the low shot version of the straight punch. Okay? As the hand goes down, it turns over until at 45 degrees you're using a horizontal fist. So the Chung Chuie fired to the head would be here, like so. If I'm firing to the ribs, it would be here. Better body mechanics for the punch. I wouldn't want to go here like this. Okay? That's good here. That's very economical here. But if I'm firing low, it's kind of difficult. So that's when I put the shoulder into it, pivot from the waist and hips, torque into it, boom, and hit hard. So that's the ping Chuie. Okay. I could fire a direct finger jab to the eyes as an attack, as I lunge. And if he defends, use that as the asking hand. So that's what I meant a while ago when I said a finger jab or Bill G can become the asking hand. Okay? Like so. Alright, then we have the one that swings upward. The asking hand movement that swings upward. In the Seattle days, this was referred to as asking for the hands. Okay, so from here, I step in and swing my arm upward. It appears to be some type of groin attack. So when he goes to defend, I take the open line. If he defends the back fist, when it comes in, I simply trap and hit him with another back fist. So then we have low asking hand, pak sao, kwa choi, lin lop sao, or cross grabbing hand, right into another Chuie, okay? If he's in opposite lead, and I bring the high line projection hand in, okay, works the same way. Here, 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 okay? Now, at that point, I can re-engage and trap if I want to, okay? I don't have to, but if I want to, I can re-engage and go in with some type of attack sequence. Okay. Now, I may deliver the Bill G or finger jab as an asking hand as before. When he goes to parry it with his lead hand, I simply torque my body through and fire another Bill G, as you can see, striking right into his left eye. From there, I go to hand immobilization attack and take the rib kidney area with a shovel hook. Okay, see how that just flowed? So we're here, we're here, we're here. Notice the flow. Okay, something else I could have done. Could have gone here. Okay, see how it just flows. Okay, now, what if I came here, then I came here, and he brought the hand back across, okay? So now, once again, the asking hand is the Bill G or finger jab attack. Third one, right in. Lock and hit, knee, elbow. See the flow? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See the flow? Okay, now, with him continuing the left lead, what if I bring the low line asking hand in? Swing upward, okay? So I'm here. Okay, see what happens? I'm here, I trap, and hit him with a back fist. Okay, now what if he blocks the back fist? I trap and hit him with a straight punch. Look at my position now. Knee coming right into the groin, elbow coming right into the head, prepared to slam the knee into the floor as I drop on it, okay? All right, so once again, there's that flow. Okay, see how we just flow there, okay? So I step, I swing it in, he blocks down, I trap, I hit, so I could go here and then step through here. All kind of possibilities, these are just a few. Okay, this is what we call the asking hand or projection hand in Jung Fanji Kune. Just something to either get an engagement or to draw the attention to the high line while entering. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is what we refer to as the Straightblast or Jik Chung Chuie. Okay, I've already told you that Chung Chuie is a vertical fist with the elbow down. When we do the Straightblast, one punch follows the other immediately. So it's one punch right after another, blasting into our target. Seen from the side, looks like this. Okay, notice that the hands never leave the center line. They never leave the center line. This is very important. This is what we call rotation. Now if I do this, I'm passing. I'm not rotating. And in passing, I leave openings on both the high and low center line. So I want to make sure that I'm thrusting directly down the center line. Now, if you look at this from the side, you'll notice that the hand that is just punched drops in a straight line toward the waist. The hand that follows through goes straight out into the target. Notice that I keep my elbows down. Notice how the punches just flow right on the center line. like so. Okay, now, everything that I demonstrated up until this point with this straight blast has been from a neutral stance, or what we refer to as a square alignment, which is footing positioned like so. Sometimes we use this stance to train the straight blast, okay? But for combative purposes, right from your fighting stance, the blast begins punch, 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 punch. Making sure that you rotate on the center line, making sure that the punch is thrust. Then we add the footwork, okay? Remember the push shuffle that I showed you earlier? The footwork that goes with a straight blast consists of a rapid series of push shuffles, what we call a chasing step. The forward chasing step looks like this. Okay, that was done slowly. Forward chasing step done slowly looks like this. Okay, when you add the punches, we pick up the speed a little bit. And you see what it looks like with the footwork. The idea being the legs moving like so, protecting the low center. So that when you blast into someone's face, if they start to fall back and their leg comes up, it's deflected harmlessly off of your lead leg instead of catching you in the groin like it would if you were moving in like this. So, we protect while we blast with our stance and with our chasing step footwork. Now, if this were coming at you, this is what you would see. Once again, notice how one punch immediately follows the next, okay? Now, this is the straight blast. Now, Robert's going to join me. He's going to hold a focus glove, okay? This is a good way to practice your blast. First of all, start off standing square. Notice how the rhythm is steady. Okay? If you're doing this incorrectly, you develop what we call a flat tire rhythm. It's like this. Usually you hear that instead of that steady rhythm. Later on in the tape on specialty techniques, you'll get to experience everything about the straight blast. We'll cover it in depth on that particular tape. Okay, now, if Robert were not wearing this glove, if I moved in with an asking hand, he brought a defense up, I could blow right into that straight blast. So, I could just, from here to here to here. With the hands moving on the center, anything he tries to bring in to defend is going to get beat down by the recovering punching hand. That's because I'm staying right on the center line. If he's in a left lead, still, it doesn't matter. I shoot something in to get the initial contact, and I just blow right into it. Now see, once I open up with this, he can't even back up fast enough. He can try, but it's real hard to even back up fast enough to get away. Okay? See how it's just kind of forceful? He's just overcome with the force. Okay, that's the idea behind the straight blast. The straight blast can be used at almost any time during an entry. Okay, in the next sequence, I'm going to talk about what we refer to as opening and closing lines of attack. In this sequence, I want to talk a little bit about what we call opening and closing lines of attack. Okay, every fighting position has an inside line, an outside line, a high line, and a low line. Okay, chances are, if the inside line is closed, the outside line may be open. If the high line is closed, the low line may be open, and vice versa. So, what we try to do is force an opening of a line. Now, the way that we can do that is sometimes through the use of an asking hand or projection hand, as I showed you in the previous sequence. Okay, so what I might do, I may project a hand high to force the opponent to raise their hands to defend, thus exposing an opening on the low line. You saw an example of this also in the previous sequence. I may shoot low, forcing them to drop their hands, bringing an opening on the high line. I may kick, forcing them to go down to defend, opening the high line. Okay? So, there are several ways to force the opening or the closing of a line. If the inside line is open, I can attack it, and when they close it, I can take the outside line. If the outside line is open, I can attack it, forcing them to close it, and then I can take the inside line. Several ways this can be done. Robert's going to join me now, and we'll show you an example of opening and closing lines. Okay, now, in Robert's position here, notice that he's got both hands up. Okay, now seeing that both hands are up, okay, if I attack here, all right, if I attack here, that forces him to raise the hands even more, okay? So we got here, all right, now, the low line is open. Okay, so when I bring this in here, that line opened up, all right? So we're here, then we're here. Okay, now you notice before he was able to drop on it, but he was a bit late. Okay, so here. All right, now, if he does drop on it, what we're looking at is an exposed inside high line. So what we have now is, okay, this line closed on me. Now this line is open. I take this line, he closed this line on me. Now this line is open. Both of his limbs are occupied. My chances of getting in are excellent. Okay, so we're here, and we're here. Okay, if he defends here, we're here. Okay? So, we have here. Okay, if he closes it, we trap. Okay? Trapping is for removing obstructions on the line. Okay? So, this being an obstruction on the line, I can trap and hit here using sliding leverage, hitting on the half beat. Then I can trap down and hit here. Okay? So what we would have there, we would be here. Okay? Now, if I attack low and force him to drop his lead hand, the high outside line is exposed. Okay? So, chances are, if I take that quickly, I'll get in. All right, what if he closes that line with his rear hand? Okay, we're here, okay? Now this line is closed, okay? Now there's an obstruction on the line. I use trapping to remove the obstruction and get in with the hit, which in this case was a side palm smash coming into the jaw, exposing the throat, okay? All right. Now, if I bring my hand here, okay, if I swing here, okay, he's closed off this line. There's an obstruction. All right, now, I have several choices here. I could take the low line immediately, okay? If he fails to cover the low line, I slap the groin. Then come around and backfist the head to the open line on the other side. Okay, if he covers with his lead hand, I immediately exploit the opening on the high line and take that. So now we've got here, here, here. Okay? Now, if I kick low and he goes to defend with his hand, if I immediately attack to the upper line, I'm in. Okay? So I'm here, then I'm here. All right, this may not even be a real kick. It may just be a feint or a fake. I'm just here, boom, then I'm straight in. Okay? So we got okay? So I feint, and then I close the gap with the punch. These are just some examples of opening and closing lines of attack. When we come back, we will get into some of the entering methods, some of the actual technique combinations that we use for entering in Jung Jeet Kune. In this sequence, we're going to demonstrate some of the basic entering methods, some of the actual technique combinations that we use to enter in Jung Jeet Kune. The first two that I'm going to show you involve a kicking technique followed immediately by a hand attack. Then the next two that we'll do will be a hand attack followed immediately by kicking technique. The first one that we're going to do is what we refer to as Jeet Tek, Chung Chuie. Jeet Tek is a straight kick. Chung Chuie is a vertical fist punch. So what we're doing here essentially is a straight kick touching down immediately into the punch. So from here, Jeet Tek, Chung Chuie, okay? So we have the straight kick followed immediately by the straight punch. Okay, now, what you have to consider here is that the straight kick could be just a feint or fake. It's not actually intended to land. Or I could be delivering it with the intention of landing the attack. So it could go either way. Either way we go with that though, the final intention attack, which in this case would be the Chung Chuie, is intended to land. So whether the initial kick is intended to land or not, the final attack is intended to land, the Chung Chuie. So what we have to be prepared for is the potential for defense against the Chung Chuie, in which case we can either go into attack by combination or we can use hand immobilization attack to end the conflict. Alright, so once again, this time we're going to do Jeet Tek, Chung Chuie. Going to straight kick, touching down into a punch. So from here, slide up, straight kick, touch down into the Chung Chuie or vertical fist punch. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. We'll demonstrate how this would actually apply. Okay, we're going to start just outside the fighting measure, actually right on the rim of the fighting measure. Okay, remember when I explained the fighting measure earlier, I was explaining to you how you like to be just on the rim, not too far outside, not inside, just on the rim. That's very important. Okay, from here, I'll launch my attack. Now, I could enter using several different types of footwork. I could steal a step, I could do a burning step, I could do a pendulum, depending on the position of my opponent and the actual range between us at the time of the entry. In this case, though, just to keep it simple and just to explain it to you, I'm going to use just a basic pendulum to slide up. This time the kick is intended to land. It's going to the kneecap. I'm going to touch down from there right into the Chung Chuie or the vertical fist straight punch. So from here, okay, that's what we're looking at. I'm going to go from right here, okay? Okay, coming right into the knee and then right into the face with the Chung Chuie. Okay? My attack could be to the groin, or as I said earlier, I may not really be intending to land the kick. It's to draw his attention. So from here, I explode in, begin the kick, then pull it short so I can land the punch. Notice how I drew the reaction though. Notice how he dropped his hand. So once again, from here, okay, notice how I had to make the kick look like it was really coming. I had to commit my hips to it and I had to raise my leg. That way it looks like it's really coming. When he responds, I land the straight punch. That's the basic Jeet Tek Chung Chuie. The next one is Jeet Tek Bil Jeet. Jeet Tek being the side kick here, Bil Jeet being the finger jab here. So we're going side kick, finger jab. Side kick, finger jab. Once again, the side kick may be for real, or it could be just a feint to open the line for the finger jab, okay? So, we're sliding up, Jeet Tek or side kick to the knee, finger jab right into the eyes. From here, notice how that time I proceeded by moving the hand upward. It's not an asking hand though, it's just a projection hand, okay? Notice I was not actually out of range where I could get the contact. Therefore, it's just a projection hand, just to draw the attention high. Then I land the side kick, then the finger jab goes in. So we're here, we're here. Okay? Now, just like before, the side kick could just be a feint. Okay, when we come back, we're going to show you two combinations for entering involving a hand shot followed immediately by a kick. In this sequence, we're going to cover two entering movements. One is what we refer to as a Bil Jeet to Jeet Tek. The other is what we call a Chuie to Jeet Tek. Okay, Bil Jeet being finger jab, Jeet Tek being side kick. So what we're doing here, we're doing the stutter step at the same time we fire the Bil Jeet. Then we slide up and side kick. Okay, so what we have is stutter step, Bil Jeet, side kick. Okay, see from the side, stutter step with Bil Jeet, side kick. Stutter step, Bil Jeet, side kick. Now the side kick can be to the knee, can be to the rib solar plexus area, depending on whether or not you draw the opponent's lead arm. If you draw their lead arm up when you fire the Bil Jeet, then you can nail them in the ribs with the side kick. If they don't move their arm that much when you fire the Bil Jeet, you can catch them in the knee with the side kick. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. Okay, so what we have here is, I'm going to stutter step. Notice once again, I'm just on the rim of the fighting measure. Just on the rim of the fighting measure. Okay, so I'm going to stutter step and fire the Bil Jeet like so. Then I'm going to gain the distance by sliding the rear foot up or stealing a step as I deliver the side kick. In this case, I went to the knee. Okay, as I was saying, if he takes the bait when I fire the Bil Jeet and raises his lead arm, that exposes the ribs or the rib solar plexus area to the side kick, and it would be coming in right there. Okay, so now we got okay. All right. So once again, stutter step, Bil Jeet, slide up, kick low. Stutter step, Bil Jeet, slide up, kick to the ribs. Okay? That is the Bil Jeet Jeet Tek or finger jab side kick entry. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is the Chuie Jeet Tek or Backfist side kick entry. This time from, once again, the outer rim of the fighting measure. I stutter step in and fire a Chuie or Backfist. Okay? Alright, from that point, I side kick. Alright, once again, I can go to the knee, or if he raises his arm high enough, I can go to the ribs. Okay? So we have 1, 2. Okay? 1, 2. All right, see the side kick coming right in? Okay, or 1, 2. Okay, see how that works? That's quad choy to jump tek. Back fist to side kick. Once again, back fist to side kick. Okay, when we come back, we're going to show you what we call out tek to quad choy and the double bill G. In this sequence, we're going to show you two more entry techniques. We're going to go with out tek, quad choy. Okay, out tek is a hook kick. Quad choy is a back fist. So, we're going to go here, here, here. All right? Hook kick, back fist. Hook kick, back fist. Okay? Robert will join me now. Okay. Now, there's several ways that I could do this. I could proceed with a projection hand, okay? All right, that'll draw the attention high. Then the hook kick will be directed either to the knee, to the inner thigh, to the groin, or to the rib solar plexus region, based on whatever is exposed. When I hit this target, he should drop his lead hand once again, opening the line for the quad choy or back fist. Okay, so what we have here is hook kick, back fist. Hook kick, back fist. Hook kick, back fist. Okay? Alright? So we got to the knee, to the inner thigh, to the groin, and to the rib solar plexus. Okay? So we got the hook kick coming in, followed immediately by the back fist. Now I'll turn it on for you and speed it up a little bit. Okay? That is out tek to quad choy. Okay, next thing we're going to do is what we call double bill G, or double finger jab. Okay, I'll fire the first one. Okay, he's going to block or parry. Okay? So when that comes in, as soon as he reaches or crosses the line with his parry, second finger jab. Straight into the eyes. Just like that. Okay, now, he may choose to, if he's quick enough, parry the second finger jab. In which case, he's going to get either a third finger jab, or I'll trap him and hit him with a back fist. Like so. Okay? So you get the idea. What we have here essentially is finger jab, he parries across. Okay, see how this opens the center? Take the center with the rear finger jab. So you have 1, 2. Notice how my body angle changes for the second finger jab. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, when we come back, we're going to show you what we call chop choy, quad choy, and ping choy, out choy. Okay, in this sequence, we're going to show you what we call chop choy, quad choy, and ping choy, out choy. Chop choy is a half knuckle fist. Okay, fired like so, designed to get in between the ribs. Okay. It's a good shot to the ribs using the second row of knuckles as the impact area. Fits in nicely between the ribs. So what we're doing here from the stance, we're lunging in. So you're doing that that push off, that explosive entry. Lunge in, shoot low, okay? So from here, I'm going to shoot low, all right? That's the ping Chuie, or rather chop Chuie. Okay, if I were here with a full fist, striking with the first row of knuckles, it would be ping Chuie, okay? So we have chop Chuie and we have ping Chuie. So the first sequence I'm going to show you starts with chop Chuie here. The second sequence I'm going to show you starts with ping Chuie here, okay? So we have chop Chuie, which is the half knuckle fist, ping Chuie, which is the horizontal fist. Chop Chuie, ping Chuie. Chop Chuie, ping Chuie. Okay? All right, Robert's going to join me now. We're going to show you what we call chop Chuie, kwa Chuie. Okay? As I just said, chop Chuie is the half knuckle fist, kwa Chuie is the back fist. Okay, if he's in a right lead, I'm going to enter from, once again, right on the rim of the fighting measure. I'm going to explode in with that heavy push-off action, moving in that forward, heavy forward energy movement, pushing off to the front here. And he's going to attempt to parry down, okay? Now I'm going to let him get on this, okay? Now if he misses it, of course, he's hit. Okay, so what we got here is, okay? So, we have a low line outer wrist engagement. Notice my cover hand protecting. Okay, now my cover hand is going to go straight to the elbow with a pak sao, and the ping Chuie is going to become, or the chop Chuie rather, is going to become a kwa Chuie to the head. By the way, you can also do ping Chuie here. It doesn't have to be chop Chuie, it can also be ping Chuie. So you really have an option here. Okay, so either way we end up here and we go here. So you got low line outer wrist engagement, pak, back fist. Okay, show you what that looks like. Okay, now, if he's in a left lead, it requires a different trap because of the energy. Okay? So when I bring this in and he drops down on it, see, now we have an outer wrist to outer wrist engagement. Okay? Alright, so we're here. Okay, now what I do, I come down here and I lop sao. And as I do so, I'm going to angle off to the side as I throw the kwa Chuie or back fist. So once again, we're doing chop Chuie, kwa Chuie, but this time the response is different because he's in a left lead. So it changes up the trapping movement in between. So instead of pak sao, this time we have lop sao, or grabbing hand. Show you what it looks like. Okay, now, Robert will just maintain that position. We'll cover the next one real quick. This is ping Chuie to ao Chuie. I've already explained to you that ping Chuie is the horizontal fist. Okay, so I'm going to shoot this ping Chuie in as if going to the abdomen or to the lower ribs. Okay, now, I have to make this look good. It has to look real. Okay, the idea is to draw a response from him. So when he goes to parry, the ping Chuie will no longer be there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change it to an ao Chuie or hook punch. So we have here, here. Okay, notice the trick is to stop here and not go on in. Then his arm gets in the way. Okay? So I have to throw a good feint, a good fake. Make him think something's really coming. When he goes to defend, I nail him with a hook punch. Okay? That'll look like this. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, now I'll speed it up a little bit for you. Okay, you get the idea. All right, when we come back, I'm going to show you Jeet Tek, Man Sao, Pak Sao, and Jeet Tek, Man Sao, Lap Sao. Okay, the first sequence that we're going to show you here is Jeet Tek, which is the side kick, Man Sao, which is the asking hand, and Pak Sao, which is the slapping hand. Okay, so what's going to happen? Robert's going to join me now. What's going to happen, okay, I'm going to slide up and fire a side kick. Then I'm going to put the asking hand out. Okay, now, when he answers, okay, this asking hand is like I'm asking a question. His defensive movement is like he is answering that question. Okay, so I'm going to slide up, kick, then I'm going to put the asking hand out. When he defends, I'm going to go with the Pak Sao, or slapping hand. Okay, so what we've got is low line kick, entry. Okay, now, Pak Sao to remove the obstruction on the line. Okay, punch and hit. Okay, so once again, kick, asking hand, Pak Sao, in with a punch. Okay, the punch is Chung Chuie, vertical fist punch. Okay. Okay. Now, the next one is Jeet Tek, Man Sao, Lap Sao. So now we have side kick, asking hand, grabbing hand. Side kick, asking hand, grabbing hand. Once again, the punch is Chung Chuie, vertical fist. This time, fired with the rear hand. Okay, so what we got now? Okay, to have a little fun with it, it's a good idea to mix these up. Now we can speed it up. He doesn't know exactly which one he's going to get. And until I feel his energy, I don't know exactly which one I'm going to do either. So we just kind of go with it, base it on what we feel. Okay, you get the idea. All right, when we come back, we're going to show you what we call a burning step and what we call a double burning step, side kick. Okay, now we're going to show you a burning step side kick as an entry tool. Then we're going to show you what we call a double burning step side kick, which is what we use in case they manage to get out of the way of the burning step side kick. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. If you saw the tape on lower body tools, you know what a burning step side kick is. When we do the volume on specialty techniques, the burning step side kick will be covered in depth on the specialty technique tape. So that's one that you might want to get your hands on if you want to really, really learn the burning step side kick inside and out and the best ways to apply it. So we're going to start off here. We'll show you how this works. Now what I do from my fighting stance, I initiate the move with the burning step and a projection hand at the same time. Now what this projection hand is doing, it is baiting his lead hand. When I shoot this in, I'm hoping that he'll raise his lead arm. Because if I can get him to raise that lead arm, the burning step, the speed and explosiveness of the burning step side kick will put me in, and I can really do some damage to his rib cage with this particular kick. Okay, so what I'm hoping for is that when I do that burning step and shoot that projection hand, I'm hoping to see that opening. Okay? So this is what it'll look like. Okay, now, the double burning step side kick is a bit more difficult. A lot of times if someone thinks they have evaded a burning step kick, they will either hold their ground or they will start to lunge back in. The idea here is when I fire the first one and he backs up, I immediately tap down into a second one and nail him with a second burning step side kick. Okay, so once again, I'm going to shoot the projection hand as I do the first burning step, hoping that he'll take the bait. When he takes the bait, the side kick is on the way. Okay, now, he's going to be aware that that side kick is coming, and he's going to back just out of range. But what he doesn't know, or what he knows, since he's in the tape with me, but what the opponent on the street will not know, is that a second burning step side kick is on the way immediately. So this is what it'll look like. I really have to try to slow that second one down, because it's hard to do. Because you're thinking about just plowing it in there. Okay, I think you get the idea. That's the burning step side kick as an entry, and the double burning step side kick as an entry. When we come back, I'm going to show you some double kicking entries. Okay, what I'm going to show you now are some double kicking combinations. Once again, if you saw the tape on lower body tools, you know what we mean by double kicking and triple kicking. In this sequence, we're going to fire a low kick to draw a response, some kind of response from our opponent. We're going to make them think that that low kick is the real kick. And then when they start to react and start to block or parry that low kick, we're going to get them with a high kick. Head kicking is not real strongly advocated in Jung Jeet Kune Do because head kicks are not very practical. However, it is good to be able to kick to the head. For one thing, you can use techniques like this, and chances are you will be able to use them effectively. Another thing is the flexibility that you develop from learning to deliver head-high kicks. And also the maneuverability of the leg. The ultimate idea is to be able to use the feet like you can use your hands. When you get to where you can literally kick box or use the feet like you would box with the hands, then you've reached a real high skill level with the feet. And that's your ultimate goal. That's what you're going for. So head kicks are good for training purposes, even though they're not so practical for the street. In fact, Bruce Lee once made the statement that in the street, I would no more kick you in the head than I would punch you in the toe. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. The first thing I'm going to show you is what we call a low-high out-tek. Out-tek is hook kick, Okay, my first kick is going to feint either to the knee or to the groin. The second kick is going to go to the head. Okay, so what this is going to look like, something like that. Of course, this is still keeping it kind of slow. Okay? So, I'm going to make him think that it's coming low. See, that's the thing. I have to make it really look like I'm going to bring this in there. Then when he thinks it's coming, I switch up and kick high. Okay, we'll do a few of those now. Okay, you get the idea. All right, the next thing is a low Jeet Tek to a high out Tek. Low straight kick to high hook kick. So, I'm going to feint a straight kick, either to the knee or to the groin, like this, and then it's going to end up being a hook kick to the head. All right, do it slow a few times, and then I'll pick it up for you. Okay, now we'll speed it up. Okay, the next one is low Jeet Tek or side kick to high out Tek or hook kick. So this time, I'm going to bring a side kick in low, except for that's not the real kick. That's what he thinks is coming. Then I'm going to turn it into a hook kick to the head. Slow a few times. Okay, speed it up a little bit. Okay. I think you can see the value of flexibility when it comes to being deceptive with combination kicking. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about entering off of Jeet Tek or the stop kick. Okay, now we're going to discuss entering off of the Jeet Tek or stop kick. We're going to cover this briefly, just enough to give you an idea of what we're looking for here. Okay, Robert's going to join me now. Okay, when he decides to fire the kick, what I'm going to do is stop kick and then come in right off of that. So whatever he does, I'm going to stop kick and then I'm going to come right in. So whether it's a lead leg kick, a rear leg kick, a straight kick, a round type kick, whatever, even if it's a spin back kick, the idea is to immediately stop kick and right in, okay? So we're going boom, boom. Okay, now of course if you meet an obstruction on the line, as you come in, you trap, okay? Okay, now I'm going to get Robert to vary his kicking. Throw some round type kicks, throw some maybe even a spin kick on me. And we'll show you what this would look like in a little bit more of a realistic application. That would be one example of the stop kick against the spin kick. Another example would be here, here. Okay, so as soon as he begins to spin, boom, boom. Okay, just bring the stop kick in, nail him, right in with a punch. Okay, so that gives you some idea of how you can work off of a Jeet Tek. Okay, now we're going to go right into what we call touch and go in-ring drills. Okay, this is a lot of fun. My senior students really enjoy the touch and go drills. All this involves is a little bit of an active imagination and a certain degree of in-ring skill. Okay, Robert is going to start off by assuming any stance, whether right lead, left lead. He's going to use his imagination. He may take the Jeet Kune Do stance. He may stand more like a boxer, okay? He may stand more like a Thai boxer, okay? More like a Thai boxer, okay? He may assume a traditional karate front stance or a praying mantis stance, just whatever. Like I said, all it takes is a little bit of imagination. Now once he assumes the stance, what I have to do is go for it. Just enter, and whatever I meet, that's what I react to, okay? So we'll show you a little bit of this, okay? I'm just going to be creative here and assume the stance. Okay, this is something similar to what a Wing Chun practitioner might do. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to analyze this quickly, gauge my entry, and decide what I'm going to do. Okay, so once again, starting from the rim of the fighting measure, okay? Something else. Okay, we got a low stance here. Sometimes these positions are a little bit hard to deal with, but I don't think it's going to present any problem for us here. Okay? Just get creative. Just kind of play with it. Okay, that'll just give you some idea of what we call touch and go in-ring drills. Slowed that down a little bit. We were not quite so aggressive. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed Volume 12, Entering Skills, and I look forward to seeing you again in another volume. If you're interested in the United States Jeet Kune Do Alliance, and if you would like to be a member, contact me, Sifu Lamar M. Davis II, at 267 West Valley Avenue, suite number 223, Birmingham, Alabama, zip code 35209. Robert and I have enjoyed working with you in this tape, and I look forward to seeing you in another volume. And I hope you'll have the chance to train with me in person one day, either at my school or at a seminar or a training camp. So, until then, train hard and keep blasting.